Hi guys, as usual, before we begin, all the necessary links in the video description and my test system details also in the video description down below. So, Aleph P1.7 preamplifier is very popular as do-it-yourself project and it's not very expensive to build. This clone was $650 delivered, while second-hand original ones are available for something like 2000 euro at this moment. This particular clone comes from Zero Zone, and as you may remember, I liked very much TPA 5255 based mono amplifiers from them, though I did not like PRT 15A balanced tube preamplifier. I still hope to fix that one someday, but that's up to the future. So let's take a look at this one, starting with some specs. Basically, the specs for the original one can be found in the user manual and in the service manual that are available on the web. But for this particular clone, the seller gives only two things. The first one is input impedance that's selectable between 2.8 kilo ohms and 22 kilo ohms, and the second one is gain. Gain is specified as selectable between 7 decibels and 10 decibels. That's all what I was able to find on that one. It's produced by Zero Zone, sometimes known as I don't know how to spell that, Glow Zone, something like that. As I've said, service manuals and user manuals for the original PAS P1.7 are available on the web, and these include schematics. So that's why this kind of preamplifier is so popular. Let's talk about the build and let's talk about the functionality. Let's start with the functionality. We have in the front, we have main power switch. We have small LED display with IR remote window. We have volume control, motorized volume control from Alps, and we have input selector. That's just digital input selector, so it rotates freely. We also have a remote. Remote is made of plastic. It's quite popular with those clone preamplifiers. I've seen it in a couple of other units. It works fine. It allows you to switch on and off the preamplifier, to mute the output, to select one of 4 inputs, and to control volume. Yeah. So that's it about the remote. Let's turn that baby on, because some of you asked me to always give you an impression on the sounds and the operating sounds that the amplifiers and preamplifiers are making. So right now it's in the standby mode, and I need to power it on either by remote or by switching this knob, because as you can see, it doubles as a switch. Yep, it's warming up and it's ready. The blue LED signals us the selected input. If I will rotate the knob, I'm able to switch the inputs. The interesting thing is that the microcontroller inside activates the relay after I will stop choosing the input, meaning that if I do something like that, it will just signal the chosen input, but it will not do anything until I will stop. And here we have a volume control. When operated by hand, it's that quiet, obviously, but let's use the remote. And that's it. It's also very, very quiet. So let's power it off and let's take a look at the back after disconnecting power supply. I still love the rotating stand. In the back, we have 2 sets of balanced inputs. We have 2 sets of single-ended inputs, 1 set of balanced outputs, and 1 set of single-ended outputs. We also have a power connector with integrated fuse compartment. As you can see, my version is intended to use with 250 volts power grids. Let's take a look inside. The top panel is quite thick, as usually. This is something like 3 millimeters of solid aluminium. And let's take a look inside. I'll move my camera like that. You've already seen everything here, in my first look video. The first thing that catches your immediate attention is a set of capacitors. There is a lot of MKP capacitors. All of them are produced by BevNB, and all of them are 10 microfarads. Importantly, they are for 250 volts DC, meaning that if you'd like to replace them, you will have to look for something that's also specified for 250 volts. Why? Because 400 volts capacitors are basically larger, both in diameter and in length, meaning that if you'd like to replace them with, for example, Janssen's that are specified for 400 volts, you would have problems with closing the top lid, because Janssen's 10 microfarad Janssen's will be significantly larger. So choosing only MKPs with 250 volts will make your options smaller. And by smaller, I obviously mean fewer. Yeah, as you know, English is not my native language. So what else do we have here? We have one toroidal transformer hidden under this nice shield. It has 2 windings for each channel, and as you can see, there was also a third one that I've missed that in my first look video, and the third winding is has been cut here, and although it's not looking very nice, let's maybe zoom in. Yeah, those are the guys. It's safe. It doesn't look quite nice. I think I will protect it with some kind of isolation tape, but these were how could I say that, they were made hot and they were glued together, stick together like that. Okay, so you've already seen on the zoom that we have power capacitor banks here, and each channel uses 2 capacitors by ikon, and they are specified for 3300 microfarads, so you're getting 6600 microfarads per channel. By the way, the board symmetry goes like that, meaning that we have one channel here and the second channel here. It goes like that. All the small red capacitors are, as usual, German Wima capacitors. All the small brown ones, like those and those here, are Nippon Chemical capacitors, so quite nice. And what else do we have here? You can see the selection switches here, and these are responsible for choosing the gain and choosing the input impedance. Yeah. You may pause the video and read that. The important thing to notice is that the switches for the right and left channel are in mirrored position, meaning that it's very important to take a look at the writing on the PCB, and I will actually show you this right now. For example, let's take a look at those guys. This switch is marked as position 2 is on the left, position 1 is on the right, and this one will have position 2 on the right and position 1 on the left. When you're selecting the gain and input impedance, it's important to choose the same value on all of the switches, so you need to switch, for example, all my positions marked with 2 to the lower setting, to the off setting, all of them at the same time. Yeah, that's quite important. Let's zoom out. What else do we have interesting here? We have a second power board. The second power board is used for powering this smaller PCB that controls the remote and relays for the input selection. And it's actually quite nice because the main power goes for the amplifier board, and there is a secondary power supply dedicated for controlling relays and volume control, and it does not interfere with the main PSU for the preamplifier board. Is that all? Yeah, I wanted to show you marking on the PCB here, although you've seen it earlier. Yep. As I've told you, this one is made by a zero zone, and you can see the soldering quality. It's actually quite okay, although obviously the board could be cleaned a little bit better. Let's rotate it like that, and I'll do a slow pass on zoom, so you'll be able to take a look and see if I'm missing anything important. Yes, the inputs in the back, I will tell you a few things about them. Basically, the whole construction is fully balanced, and as you can see, the volume control is also fully balanced. We have some symmetrical inputs and outputs for both channels, and the same goes for the board. The actual signal input is in here, and the signal output is over here. The signal output goes through the relays in the back. The interesting thing is that the volume control is in line with the inputs before the preamplifier board, meaning that you're lowering the level of the input signal, and that's important because the original pass Aleph P1.7 was using resistor ladder controlled volume in the let's say output stage, so after the preamplifier. The difference is that if you're lowering the volume of the input signal, you're changing the relation between the internal noise of the preamplifier and the input volume signal, and you don't want to do that at this stage because you're basically lowering the relation between them. What you would like to do is to have volume control after the the preamplifier board, because in this way you would be scaling down the whole signal, including the noise, meaning that the relation between the useful information, your audio signal, and the noise level would be way better. So this is one of the things that I would modify here, but I would need to check for the power rating of this volume pot. I would modify it so the input signals would be going straight to the board, and then I would route output signals from the board through the volume control to the outputs. It's basically as long as this potentiometer will be good for the required output power, it's an easy job because it just requires replacing the inputs and outputs on the board. Yeah. So the second one I would change here are those capacitors. Why? I will explain later when I'll be talking about the sound quality. The thing is that this will probably be expensive because 10 microfarads capacitors are not exactly cheap because it's quite large capacitor, and we have like 6 of them here, 12 of them here, and then we have 4 here, so 16 10 microfarads capacitors. That's quite expensive. In the back we have a small board with inputs, and basically the balanced outputs and balanced inputs are going straight through the volume control. And we also have RCA inputs. Interestingly, this one, let's get the focus here, this one misses a corner, and as I've told you in my first video, this is actually done on purpose because the screw mounting the top plate is protruding here, and it would be touching and damaging this small PCB, so it had been cut off. and that's fine. It doesn't look very elegant, but it works. Yeah. So that's about the build quality. If you've seen something interesting here, give me a shout in the comments section. Okay, so let's talk about the sound quality. The bass. Let's start as usual with the bass. P1.7 is focused on mid bass rather than a lowest sub bass. It's warm, inviting, and organic, but it's not very fast and it's not super precise. It's more about the feeling of warmth and coziness than hitting you in the gut with sudden pressure change. It works nicely with acoustic stuff, jazz music, etc., but you will sometimes miss that kick in some of your other tracks, especially rock tracks, etc. The mid-range. The mid-range is very smooth and it's very relaxing. Voices here have a very natural, organic timbre, but I think it lacks some transparency here. Like I would prefer musicality, like this preamplifier would prefer musicality over transparency, intimacy over airiness and clarity. Yeah, but it's very organic and I really liked vocals here. Moving on to treble. Again, similar to mid-range, treble is very smooth, it's very relaxing. It has absolutely no sibilance, so there is no listening fatigue, but it's all at the expense of the clarity and airiness. It's not bad, by any means, but I like my top 3 recommended preamplifiers more for transparency and sparkle in the treble. Moving to the detail. It's not a microscope. It focuses on the big picture rather than micro detail, reminding me Nime clones here. If you look for it, if you're looking for the micro details, then you will find some of the small things, small sounds hidden here and there, but I really would like to have more of detail. I'd like to have more in this area. Now, imaging. This clone of Aleph P1.7 has absolutely amazing and excellent imaging. Soundstage is very wide, it's very deep, it's very tall, instruments are very nicely layered, but it's even better than that. As center image, vocals have this weird 3D-like feeling. The layers are not like flat paper cuts with distances. It's like the singer is not a, I don't know, flat place in the center of the image. It's actually a 3D object. I don't know how to describe that. I'm kind of missing words here, but it's a very nice thing, and imaging here is amazing. It's not like the layers, as I've said, would be cut from the paper and placed with some distances. It's more like 3D objects in space, and it goes not only for the center image of the vocalist, but it also goes for the things that are happening on the left and on the right of the scene. So imaging is amazing, and imaging here is on par, if not slightly better, than with my top 3 recommended clone preamplifiers. This area of the sound quality is absolutely starring here. So, my summary. The first thing that I wanted to tell you about some quirks and functionalities that are coming with using this preamplifier. You need to observe the proper power on and power off technique, power off and power on sequence with this preamplifier, the same as with basically any other preamplifier. The thing is that this one is able to produce a slight pop when it's stabilizing on power on, meaning that if your power amplifier is very sensitive, it has very sensitive protection for the speakers, the pop coming from the preamplifier will trigger the speaker protection in your power amplifier, and your power amplifier will switch off. So, as with all audio equipment, the proper sequence is for powering on. You're powering your source first, then you're powering your preamplifier, and then a couple of seconds later, you're powering on your power amplifier. When you're powering your system off, the first thing that you will be powering off is your power amplifier, then you will power off your preamplifier, and lastly the source. This is a proper sequence. You should observe it with every equipment. Some of the units, some of the audio gear has protection circuits built in, so it may not be necessary with every particular audio unit, but this is a very good habit to observe that when you're powering on and powering off your gear. So another thing is that we have a slight noise coming from the speakers, from the treble drivers with this preamplifier. As I've said, the volume control should be after the preamplifier board, not before it. And this there is a slight hiss coming from the treble drivers, but it's not noticeable when you're sitting not in directly in the front of the speaker. What I mean by that, I was able to hear the hiss when I had my ears close to the speaker. Close meaning something like 10-15 centimeters. When I was sitting away for something like 1 meter, 2 meters, etc., the hiss was barely audible, but it's there. Now, moving to the rest of the summary. This preamplifier likes to be played louder, as it sounds very natural in the mid-range, and you kind of want the vocalist to go loud next to you. This was a very nice quality. The imaging and the mid-range are stars of the show here. Capacitors. These capacitors are responsible for the clarity. You remember my remarks on clarity when I was talking about the mid-range and the treble. And in my opinion, this preamplifier would really benefit from replacing all of those with something better. But then again, that would be quite expensive for a, because check the prices, 10 microfarads rated for 250 volts are not exactly cheap, especially if you want to have something that really is better and not to replace them with more of the same. Volume control. As I've said earlier, the volume control should be moved to the signal path right after the preamplifier, not before it. So that's another thing to change. As for the timings, I would pair this preamplifier with either analytical speakers or sources, as it's more on the warm side of the things. As you probably can tell now, it's not really my cup of tea. It's not bad, but it's on the other end of the spectrum for the sound character that I like. Maybe not as far as on the other end, maybe somewhere in the middle, as it's not muddy or veiled. Once again, stars of the show, mid-range, excellent imaging, amazing imaging. So, three things I liked about that preamp. The first one, imaging is simply amazing. The second one, mid-range is very, very nice. The third one, build quality and price. It's a very simple design, it's a very elegant, you can see all the cables are routed very nicely. I really like that. Now, three things that I didn't really like. The first one, the certain lack of bass and treble extension. As I've said when I was talking about the bass, it doesn't really go very, very low. It doesn't go as low as some other preamplifiers that I've tested. And the same goes for the treble. It's very smooth, it's very relaxing, but at the same time, it's slightly missing the topmost treble sounds. Again, I may be damaged here because I'm loving my electrostats and I love the treble to be very open, very airy, and very transparent. I know that some of you will like the actual presentation that this preamplifier delivers. It's smooth, it's relaxing, it's warm. Okay, so the second thing I didn't really like, and I'd like to have some improvements here. I would love some more detail here. Again, this comes from my preferred sound character. Being electrostat guy, I love to have tons of detail. As I've said, this one is more similar to NIME. It prefers the overall musicality over the analytical side of things, over the detail. And the third one, the third thing that I'd like to be corrected here, that I'd like to be better here, is the slight hiss. That would be probably fixed by placing the volume control in chain after the preamplifier board, like it was with the original pass labs Aleph P1.7. Changing the order of volume control and the preamplifier is quite nice. Quite easy. One more thing that I would probably think about if I would be seriously thinking about doing bigger mods, like for example replacing cabs, I would think about getting a resistor ladder volume control. These are available. They are not exactly cheap because they are, I think they are something like $150. But these are available. They have a resistor ladder on the rotary knob, and sometimes they are coming with the remotely controlled small powered engine to rotate the knob. These are usually larger than this one here, so replacing that one would be maybe not exactly a challenge, but it would be requiring some more work, because you'd have to move the PCB somewhere over here to retain the relay control for the inputs over there, but you would need to have some more space just right behind the knob here to place this resistor ladder volume control. But it's doable. As do-it-yourself guys, we like that kind of challenges. So go ahead and share your experiences if you decide to do something like that. Okay, all in all, though it will not make my top 3 recommended preamplifier list, it's quite nice if you look for easygoing and relaxed preamplifier for your system. Again, links to the store I got this one from, so tested as reliable, are in the video description. And you'll find also my test system details in the video description at the very end of the description. I hope you liked this little review, and if it helped you, you're more than welcome to buy me a beer using PayPal link or super thanks on YouTube, again under the video. And check out my other reviews for Chinese audio gear, especially for the preamplifiers if you're in the market for getting one. Thanks for watching this small video. I hope you liked it, and have a wonderful day, guys. Bye. See you next time.